If someone should ask you, what is your top 5 video games of all time?
Top 5. You know, I feel like it changes because like I feel like as a gamer, you know, I've changed over time. Like, you know, the games I like maybe, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago aren't the same games that I really like love now. But a lot of them are. But I'm just gonna go over my top 3 if that's okay. So third favorite, Final Fantasy VI. It's just like a role-playing game. I just have memories of like me and my siblings playing together, like trying to hog the Super Nintendo to play it. Second favorite game of all time, an online game called Ultima Online, and this was like late 90s. The game was like the Wild West online. You'd go in, you'd like, you know, get armor or whatever, and someone out there, anyone could just kill you. And they killed you. They just took everything you had. And that was it. I remember one time being murdered and guy walks over, brings, hey, I killed this guy. He's got like a sewing kit on him. There were sewing kits in the game. And, you know, I was like, man, brutal. And, you know, but top game of all time, I think they just had their 30-year anniversary or something like that. Star Control 2. It's basically a game where you can adventure through space, you talk with aliens, you had like this freedom and all these different like, you know, personalities and things you could do, and the game changed. Had a big impact on gaming in general. Without me and my brothers connected on that game, it had so much impact on me. One of the greatest games ever in my opinion, and it's free to play too, the Urquan Masters, but yeah, my number 1 game of all time. I always talk about that, so yeah, great game.
Okay. So what's your worst day, or one of your worst day on the job?
Worst day on the job. So I was watching Eric's episode, which was great. He's an excellent storyteller, and it brought back flashbacks of my previous life in hospitality. I used to install computer systems for restaurants, bars, clubs, and anytime you went into like, you know, one of those places, 99 times out of 100, gross. I had like, you know, roaches coming out of like printers that I brought back, whatever. And I had days where I'm just lugging around heavy stuff, and I think my most like, this is my worst day, but like sometimes I carry something really heavy on the subway to bring it like halfway across the city to like a cafeteria. It's a hot day. I'm tired. I'm not built for heavy stuff. I was just like pathetically tired. And like this one time, I felt like it was one of the hottest girls I've ever seen in my life, was sitting down and she looked at me, sorry for me. She's like, hey, do you want my seat? I'm like, no, thank you. It was like I was like, the shame I felt. But it wasn't that. But eventually, after about 8 years doing that, and I learned a lot. I felt it was time for me to move on. And so I left that, and like a friend introduced me to like a website called Justin TV, and he's like, yeah, come watch me play video games. And I went there, and I was like, this is kind of dumb. I just play video games myself, but it was actually really cool watching them play games. I'm like, whoa, like I could talk to people that are watching me, and like I get better at being like a, you know, less of an introvert or whatever, get better at that. So I started doing that, and I'm like, you know, 2 months in, my mind is blown. I've got like 30, 40 real human beings watching me play video games. And so it's like, whoa, like, could I turn this into like a living somehow? Like, you know, maybe I get sponsored. I can get like, you know, like just some way like to make this work. And so I got hungry for like results. So every day I was like, what could I do today? And I was doing like 12-hour streams every day. Like I was no-lifing this thing. Like I loved it. And I was like, what could I do to bring more people in and make this dream happen? And so coming up was one of the biggest games that year, Grand Theft Auto 4. I pre-ordered the game already. And then I'm like checking my messages online, and like it turns out someone leaked the game early, like 4 days early or something. I'm like, yo, I can download this game. I'm gonna play it, and maybe I'll like, you know, break 100 viewers today. It's gonna be amazing. So I rush out of bed. I pirate this game. Terrible thing. Don't do it. Don't pirate it. I was, you know, whatever. But anyway, I was so excited. So I download this game. I burned the disc. I pop it into like my modified Xbox 360. Sorry, Microsoft. And don't do this. And so like I go live and I'm playing and I'm excited. And at the start, it's like more of the same people showing up. I was like, wow, like how'd you get it early? I'm like, oh no, I don't know, like, you know, whatever. And so, but as the day goes on, like, you know, it turns to hundreds, and then eventually thousands. And at some point, there's 10. This is 2008. 10,000 people like watching me, and my mind is blown. Like I think at one point I'm like, hey, like thanks for like if you guys want to follow me, you can. And then like hundreds of people follow me. I think I had barely anything before that, and just like get like 10 times my follower count like immediately. I'm like, wow. And so I had a few friends also streamed like, and we had like a group channel. And he's like, yo, like you're doing great. Like, can you like stream this game on? Can you stream GTA on our other channel together? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I I stop my stream, I hop on this other channel, people still come back and watch, and then he's like, yo, dog, like, I just got a message on the channel. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, like, it's from some lady who works at like Rockstar. What? And then he copies and pastes it, and the message said like my name is Gina Feist. Like, I'm like, legal counsel at 2K, blah, blah, blah. Google me.
Right.
And it's like basically stop what you're doing right now, XYZ, and call me, like, or else, basically.
Right.
And I was frozen, man. Frozen. Everyone's like watching. There's still thousands of people. I'm like, I gotta go, guys. And I just stopped. I was frozen in terror. So right now I'm sitting there, I'm reading this message over and over again. Her number's right there. I did search her and something popped up and like legit. And I was absolutely terrified. So I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna like go to jail or something. I'm get like sued and like whatever. So I call her. And so I'm like, hi, I'm the guy like that you like Swiftor, you messaged me or like it's like oh like yeah like oh like I'm glad you called, but like I don't know what we're gonna do with you. She played like both good cop and bad cop so well. She got everything out of me. It's like, what's your full name? Where do you live? Like what do you do for like a living? Like where'd you go to school? Like where'd you get the game early? Like how'd you get everything? I told her everything. I was so eager like to just give her. She was like, yeah, like I'll go back to the rest of the team and see what we could do. But she finessed me so well. Just the smart thing to have done was just stop streaming.
Right.
Not call her, not give away all your information. Like, where were they going to get the information? I didn't even think about that. Like, was the website going to give, what did they even know? So that was stupid. So I was so terrified. And she's like, okay, I'll see what happened. I'll give you a call tomorrow. And so our call ends. I got no sleep. I had no appetite. And then I later find out, like, my entire channel's banned. Of course. So, like, the website, Justin got there. Got the message from 2K, Rockstar, or whatever, and the last thing in my mind was like, I didn't care about the channel. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, they're gonna make an example out of somebody who this is a new frontier streaming games or whatever, and like they're gonna like sue me or put me in jail. Like, I'm gonna ruin like my life and like I'm terrified. So like the next day I wake up and like I send like another like email to her. I'm like, hey, we talked yesterday. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, just, like I had no intention of like making a profit off this or anything. Like, like I'm so sorry. She replies really quick one line, like, yeah, like I'll let you know. Like I'll give you a call. Like I'll give you like, a call or a message, like, like maybe today or tomorrow. Right. And every day it's just me like waiting there, like, like I don't know like what's gonna happen. Right. And I was terrified. So another day passes, I'm just waiting. I'm not like, I think my ban expired after like 3 days or something. Like, I didn't even care, like, I'm not streaming. And I was just like, I didn't tell my mom or dad. I feel like they're just like, like disown me.
How old were you at the time?
Oh, I was 26. So I'm not like, I wasn't like a kid. That's the thing. Like, I wasn't like, a 15-year-old or anything, man. This is like 2008. Right. I'm 26 years old. Like, I graduated from college already. Like, I left my last job or whatever. And this was like it. Like I had something special and I was about to throw it away. Yeah. So a day passes, another day passes, and she doesn't call me back. And then eventually it's like a few weeks pass and like nothing. And so it was like the for me, I mean, maybe it sounds crazy to people listening, but I was like, I feel like I had a little bit of hair back then. After that, I mean, there's definitely no hair I was ever going to grow up there like ever again after that. Like I was losing my mind. Right. And so eventually I started streaming again, and there was, I'm not going to lie, like, there was definitely some positive like impact from like that 15 minutes of fame. Like, there's some folks that came back and asked about it, but I didn't say anything about like, lawyers or whatever like that. And fast forward to like years later, like, I still played Grand Theft Auto. I made videos out of it, and I eventually had like a good relationship with the folks at Rockstar, who were based in New York City. Great team over there. Right. My boy Adam, Christine, they're like great folks. And once in a while, they'd like invite us to their building, and they shared that building with 2K. Like 2K owns Rockstar, and it's so sadistic. Every time I went there, I was just hoping that maybe I'd run into Gina Feist, the lawyer who's scared the daylights out of me. Like she's still a legend to me
Right.
today. Every time I'm like, yeah, like, is it possible I might run into her? It's like I don't know. She's on this floor, and I'm like, but that was the most. I've never been that stressed or like in my life. It's
Right.
that, like I thought my life. I was such a good kid before that, you know, like.
Right.
Sure, pirate games, shame on me. But like, you know, like I never got arrested or whatever, and I was the good kid in the family, and that like terrified me, like scared me like straight. So please don't like.
Did you figure this out by yourself, like
What
how
the,
to like burn the game?
For
on
sure,
the
I feel like when you don't have like a ton of money, like, you know, like I wasn't like super poor, but it was like you know, when you can't afford to buy every new game, like, you know, it's like, oh, like, you know, someone teaches you like, oh, like, you know, at first it's like, hey, I'll sell you this game.
Right.
Like, okay, and then it's like, all right, how can I do this myself so I'm not buying like burn games from you? So I feel like maybe every kid grows up learning some like shady trick of the trade from somebody, whether it's like how to steal cable or whatever it is. But so it's like, you know, like there's something, you know.
Right.
And for me, it was like, oh, like how to like get Juarez and download files and burn it to a CD.
Right.
And I mean, obviously, like, don't need to do anything anymore. I better not. But like. But yeah, it's this kind of thing where, like, you know, you learn because there's a desire because you like games and you can't have everything, and you try to rationalize it, but you're like, like, you know, like there are people out there buying the game. I can't. It's not like it's not like they're losing a sale. And
Right.
in GTA's case, I actually pre-ordered the game. Like, I was excited for the game. It was more like, I could play this game, like, and people, like, you know, get excited for it. I had no idea it'd be that level. You know, later on, I Googled online and like GameSpot's forums or whatever, and it was like, oh, there's some like dude, like he was like playing it early, and a lot of people complain about how bad I was, which is true. But yeah, but no, it's just
That's like one of the biggest industry, the gaming industry.
oh sure, yeah,
One
even
of the biggest.
yeah, GTA 5 I think is still the biggest grossing day one or first, whatever it was. Like they broke the media record, like, you know, more than any like movie or
Right.
whatever, like, you know, game like. So it was huge, and you know, and like I didn't know like it was that huge back then, but like I just know they were a big company, and like, you know, you don't mess with like a monster like that, and like, you know, like if you're the first one to mess with something like that, like they'll destroy you. So that was just the only thing running through my head. I was just like life ruined.